Hi everyone. At the beginning of the week we started our second Magic School Bus book. The name of it was The Great Shark Escape, and it was by Jennifer Johnston. Miss Frizzle and her class are going on a field trip to the aquarium. An aquarium is a museum that has lots of fish that live in the water. Besides fish, they might have some mammals that live in the water. Sometimes you can pick them up. We learned a little bit about the ocean before we began our field trip. An ocean is salt water, and it takes up 3/4 of the Earth's surface. 1 million species of plants and animals live in the ocean. There are 5 main oceans in the world, and they're all connected. You can travel around them by boat if you'd like. Here are the names of the 5 oceans. The Pacific is the largest and the deepest. The Atlantic is the second largest. That's the one that we live the closest to. And when we go to the beach in the summer, we can swim in the Atlantic Ocean. The third largest is the Indian Ocean. The next one is the Antarctic. It surrounds the South Pole and the Antarctic, and it's very, very, very cold. We learned about the penguins. Some of them live in the Antarctic. And we last, the smallest is the Arctic, and it surrounds the North Pole, and you know who lives there. Then the kids learned about some sharks as they traveled to the aquarium. They learned that there are 368 different kinds of sharks, and they're all sizes. The smallest is only 7 inches, and it's called the spined pygmy. It's about the size of my hand. The largest is bigger than our Magic School Bus. It is called the whale shark. It's about 50 feet long. That's half a football field. Most are between 5 and 10 feet long. I'm a little bigger than 5 feet, so 2 of me is about the biggest it could get, most of them. Sharks are fish, but they have no bones. Instead of bones, they have a tough material called cartilage. Humans have cartilages in their noses and in their ears. Fish have gills to breathe, so sharks have gills to breathe. They have 5 to 7 pairs of gill slits on the side of their heads. See this little markings? That's the gill slits. The water goes in, they get the oxygen and breathe out. Most sharks are shaped like torpedoes. That's the torpedo shape. This helps them glide swiftly through the water. Their tails are longer on the top than on the bottom. This is a classic shark shape. Sharks live all over the world. They are mostly marine fish or saltwater fish. They live in the ocean, but some, like the bull shark, have been known to swim in freshwater rivers and lakes. Some of them were even found in the Mississippi River in the United States. I'm going to continue our story, and I'm going to start reading chapter 3. Chapter 3. The sub chugged along. Some of the fish we passed were really cool. I actually started to relax a little. A bunch of fuzzy-looking green stuff was floating around us. "Hey, Miss Frizzle, what is that stuff?" Keisha asked. "It's called plankton, Keisha," the Frizz answered. Remember, we learned about that last book. "It's a mixture of tiny plants and animals. It's one of the basic food sources for fish and other sea creatures." We were all looking at the plankton when a dark shadow fell over the window. I knew it had to be bad news. Something huge was on the other side of the glass. We were staring straight into an enormous open mouth. The mouth was filled with thousands of teeth. Up close, they were very small. A stream of water and plankton was rushing into the great mouth, and we were right in the middle of the stream. "Miss Frizzle, watch out!" I cried. Everyone else looked scared too. "It's going to suck us in," Wanda cried. "Hold on tight, everyone," the Frizz said. Just then, Liz punched some controls on the instrument piano with her tail. At the last second, the sub zoomed deeper into the water. We dropped just below the big mouth. Phew, that was close. But as soon as I thought we were safe, Miss Frizzle steered the sub so we were right beside a huge shark. We were so close to it that we couldn't see anything else. What was Miss Frizzle thinking? It's bigger than a semi, Ralph said. This is real close encounter, Miss Frizzle said. Take a good look. Even though I was scared, I couldn't help looking. The giant shark had dark gray skin with pale yellow spots and lines all over it. Mr. Hill had been very quiet since we left the aquarium, but now he looked very pleased. Kids, that thing is a whale shark. A whale shark, said Ralphie. Is that a kind of shark or a kind of whale? According to my research, it's the biggest fish in the sea, D.A. said. Suddenly, the whale shark shut its gigantic mouth. Water rushed out of the gills on the side of its head. The force of the water made the sub start spinning around in circles. Don't worry, Mr. Hill said. It has a huge mouth, but it only eats tiny, tiny fish and plankton. Monster Mouth by Carlos. A whale shark is a shark, not a whale. It is the biggest fish in the world. It can grow up to 50 feet long and can weigh as much as 15 tons. Whale sharks have 3,000 tiny teeth, but they don't use their teeth to eat. Whale sharks are filter feeders. They have built-in food filters called gill rakers. Here is how they work. The whale shark swims with its large mouth open. It sucks in massive amounts of water, plankton, and tiny fish. They go in. The whale shark pushes the water back out through its gills, but the plankton and other stuff is left behind for its dinner. It works kind of like a strainer. A whale shark can filter about 15,000 gallons of water an hour. That's a ton. Here's a picture of it. Look at that huge mouth. Hang on, class, Miss Frizzle said as we whirled through the water. She quickly got the sub under control and steered us away from the whale shark's head. Then she stopped the sub not far away. If that thing is a shark, I asked, shouldn't we be getting as far away from it as possible? Oh no, Mr. Hill said. Now that we're away from its mouth and gills, we're in no danger. In fact, the whale shark is called the gentle giant because it never bothers people. But I thought all sharks were dangerous, Wanda said. She looked and sounded a little nervous. She and I seemed to be the only ones that were not crazy about hanging out with a shark. Oh, not at all, said Mr. Hill. According to my research, said D.A., only about 25 types of sharks are dangerous to people. So there's 368, and only 25 of them could hurt us. That's correct, said Miss Hill. Some sharks are dangerous, but most species have never attacked people. Here's from the Blue Water Aquarium's ocean brochure. Shark attack. Get the facts. 93% of all shark species are harmless to humans. So that means only 7% are harmless to us. Most shark attacks are caused by people getting too close to sharks and frightening them. The giant white shark, the tiger shark, the bull shark, and the oceanic white tip shark are the 4 sharks most dangerous to humans. Let me say that again. The great white, the tiger, the bull shark, and the oceanic white tip shark are the most dangerous. They are the most likely to attack without being provoked. Sharks attack fewer than 100 people each year. Very few of those attacks are fatal. That means when you're attacked, if you ever are, you don't die. About 2/3 of all the shark attacks take place in cloudy or muddy water. The sharks mistake their human victims for prey animals. When I looked around the sub, I noticed that everyone's faces looked green. I guess I'm not scared of the whale shark anymore, said Wanda, but I think I'm getting seasick from the waves it's making. The whale shark was moving up its whole body from side to side. It was making lots of waves, but they weren't bothering me. I kind of liked riding the waves. That's another unique feature of the whale shark, Mr. Hill said. Most whales mainly use their tails to push themselves through the water, but the whale shark uses its whole body. It's not just moving its body, it's moving my stomach, Ralphie said with a worried look on his face. I felt a little queasy myself, said Miss Frizzle. Liz, full speed ahead. Tomorrow, chapter 4, we'll see what else they see underneath the ocean. Bye-bye for today.